This is the first time on a public forum that I'm going to admit that I too was clinically depressed and suicidal. Hi, I'm Teja Priyadarshini, founder for Akashic Center for Healing, and today we're going to be talking about depression, because we should be talking about depression and other mental disorders more often so that it destigmatizes this whole notion that it's not okay to be depressed, because it is okay to be depressed. Sometimes we just don't know why we're depressed, and we find ourselves going through this problem or issue without seeing anybody or talking to anybody, and just unable to handle it on our own, and it gets very, very overwhelming. When I went through my years of trauma, I went down this deep, dark hole which I thought I can never get out of. The more I tried to claw my way out, the more deeper I fell into the hole. This darkness was surrounding me. But then I heard a tiny little voice in my head saying that you need to seek the light. You need to get out of this because this is not you. And I decided I'm not going to succumb to this darkness. I am going to fight my way out. And that is when I sought help. I came out of that hole and I started talking to my loved ones about the way I was feeling. I sought professional help. And today, I'm better off for it. I am so much more happier. I have control over my life, my emotions, and I am feeling very successful with whatever I've done so far in my life. I'm not depressed anymore. And today I want to reach out to you and tell you that if you are going through any sort of depression, please reach out either to me or to a loved one or to somebody you can trust. Some people might come at you and say, this is just a phase in life, snap out of it, it's all in your mind, you're just being lazy, etc. and etc. But they're not true. Sometimes it's very difficult to deal with depression, and it's okay to seek help. What is depression? Depression is this persistent feeling of sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness that continues to eat you up from inside. And there are many factors and causes that contribute to this feeling of depression. If you are going through this deep feeling of sadness for more than 2 weeks, then you need to understand that there are other symptoms that you have to be aware of so that you will know whether you're going through depression or not. There are many causes of depression, one being family history. I mean, like if anybody in your family had ever suffered from any mental illness or depression earlier in their life, then it could be carried forward in the family line. The other is brain chemistry or the structure of the brain. Sometimes the brain may not be fully developed, and that can also cause depression. If you've been through any sort of trauma in your childhood or in your formative years or even in the recent past, that can also cause depression. If you have a physical ailment or an illness that is restricting use of your body or mind, that can also cause depression. There are certain drugs that can cause depression because of their side effects, and there are other factors that contribute to becoming depressed or being in that state of depression for a long period of time. These are just but a few causes and factors that factor in when we're talking about depression. But if you are experiencing 5 or more of the symptoms I'm about to list out for more than 2 weeks, I think it's time you take it seriously and talk to somebody about it. The first, of course, like I said, is this persistent feeling of sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. When you're feeling extremely sad for something that has occurred either in the recent past or sometime during your life, and you're unable to shake that sadness for whatever reasons, you're not able to get out of that mood, then it is one of the symptoms of depression. The second is when you're having these angry outbursts, you're becoming irritable for no reason at all. For over small matters, you get angry and you start shouting and throwing tantrums and stuff like that. That is another symptom of depression. The third is loss of interest in things that you usually love doing, like hobbies, physical activities, even sex for that matter. When you start or begin to notice that you're losing interest in all of these activities, that is another symptom of depression. The fourth is if you're having too much or too little sleep, if you feel like you want to sleep all day, or if you feel like you can't sleep at all, suffering from insomnia, then that can also be a symptom of depression. Fatigue, that is the next symptom. When you're feeling tired all of the time over small tasks, you just, you feel exhausted, you can't even do the basic things like getting up and having a shower or making yourself a cup of coffee. Whatever these tasks that you enjoyed in the past are tiring you now for no reason at all. When you've had enough sleep but you're still unable to do all of these things, that can also be another symptom of depression. The sixth is if you feel like eating too much or have complete loss of appetite. That is also another symptom of depression. When you're depressed, you tend to eat a lot of comfort food or stay away from food because you feel it doesn't do you any good. It's worthless trying to feed yourself because you are feeling worthless from deep down. The seventh reason is having unclear and foggy thoughts, unable to concentrate, unable to focus properly. Your mind is always in a haze, so to speak. That could also be another symptom of depression. The eighth feeling is feeling of worthlessness and guilt. When you are reliving past issues or past failures and feeling worthless and guilty over them, that can also be another symptom of depression. The ninth is if you're having trouble concentrating on things that you never had any trouble concentrating, like for example, if you're making a food item or dish or something you're cooking and you're unable to focus on it, you're unable to concentrate on it, and you put one item instead of the other and you get confused, this can also be a symptom of depression. Remember, I'm talking about persistently happening over a period of time, not if it just happened one time. The 10th thing is if you are building up this anxiety inside of you and you don't really know where it is coming from. Feeling anxious, feeling agitated, feeling restless is also another symptom of being depressed. The 11th is frequently thinking about death or harming yourself or having suicidal thoughts. That is one of the major symptoms of being depressed, especially when you're constantly thinking about yourself in a I hate myself, I want to kill myself kind of thought pattern. That is not a healthy thought pattern, and that is a symptom of depression. The last but not least is unexplained physical pains like headaches, body aches, backache, you name it, and you don't really know why it's happening or where it's coming from because you never had them before. If you've experienced 5 or more of these symptoms for more than 2 weeks, then please reach out to somebody and get some help. Even if you're not severely depressed or clinically depressed, it can be a sign where depression is setting in, and it's better to tackle it at the very beginning than let it set in and become stronger in your life. It's not enough that celebrities talk about depression, or if somebody dies who's famous, that is when people start talking about depression. I don't think it's fair. I think people should talk about mental illness and depression a lot more so that people are educated about it, because most of the time when I talk about depression to my friends, they just brush me off saying that, this is just something in your mind, or, you're just making it up, it's not real, things of that sort. But it is very, very real. For the people who are going through depression especially, it is their entire world, and sometimes it's so overwhelming that they cannot pick themselves up and get out of that state of mind, and that is when you need help. So please reach out to me or your dear friends or family or a professional. If you cannot reach out to anybody you trust, then talk to a professional, because there is nothing worth taking your life over. Nothing worth taking your life over. It is very important to know this, understand it, and believe it. There is nothing in this world taking your life over. It is the most precious thing God has gifted you, and if you are unable to deal with your life, it is fine, it's okay. Don't criticize yourself about it. Don't punish yourself about it. It is okay to have failures in life. It is okay to experience loss in life. We learn from these things, and that is what makes us stronger. So if you are going through depression, my friend, I would love to hear from you so that I can help you in any way that I can. Please reach out and let me know how you're feeling. Until I see you again in my next video on Sunday, please stay safe and stay happy.